Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is a 2024 action-adventure game developed by Machine Games. Think Uncharted, but instead of following a witty, treasure-hunting middle-aged historian, you follow a witty, treasure-hunting, middle-aged historian.
Why are you the way that you are?
We lay our scene in Bedford, Connecticut, 1937. See, I was gonna make a Biden joke, but it turns out this was actually only 5 years before he was born. That man is 82. Think about it. Every year for the past 40, his birthday cakes could have cosplayed as bonfires. Anyway, 5 years before Joe spawned into this PvP server, Indy pursued an artifact stolen from him, which is karmic, inevitably leading him on a big and exceedingly perilous adventure, or what I'm sure he'd refer to as just another Wednesday. So, ultimately, how did I feel about the most recent outing of my favorite whip-wielding white dude? Let's get into it. So, the good. The visuals are great. Circle. When it comes to the environments, the rich textures, lush foliage, and luminous lighting really bring the world to life. Character models and facial animations are highly expressive and lifelike. The hair physics are especially nice, billowing in the wind as you violently nudge Nazis. Indy wears leather well, like Cavill wears chest hair, Pharrell wears adolescence, or Mickey Rourke wears mashed potatoes.
I'm kind of retarded.
But visuals aren't just what one sees. Sometimes they're what one does not see. The extremely minimal UI makes the experience more cinematic and immersive. And on the topic of things unseen, this game does not resort to that generic yellow paint to point the player to the proper path. Machine Games simply trust you to figure things out, and in doing so, incentivize exploration and make the game world feel much vaster than it is. Though, some areas are actually quite large and offer a lot to do. For example, side missions, which are plentiful, meaningful, and storyful. Yeah, that's totally a word. The sound is also really great. Circle. Environmental effects are true to life. Music is phenomenal and reminiscent of the movies, as are the cutscenes. I really felt like I was watching one of the films, which, by the way, I know it's criminal to say, but I actually like Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. The iconic score really sets the tone. Voice acting is perfect across the board, and Troy Baker is almost indiscernible from Harrison Ford. Indy, per usual, is brimming with personality, and having the movies as a point of reference intuitively makes him feel like more of a real and developed person. But great characterization is complemented by an expertly written script, which this game has. It is complete with peril, humor, history, and romance. As in the films, Indy utilizes disguises, which are really the difference between fighting endless mobs or just walking right through them, appearing as one of their own. This helps to simplify the game, as well as offer a plethora of routes one can take to achieve an objective. Speaking of apparel, whenever the camera panned to Indy's feet, I think, were these really his best option? I guess Nike didn't exist back then. Puzzles here are interesting and well designed. That's word to you, Hellblade 2. Even for those that may have temporarily stumped me, when I figured them out, I always thought, that was a good puzzle. Now, the bad. In the beginning, at the college, Marcus was walking like a marionette doll, which for Joe Biden would be considered an upgrade.
He ain't lying.
A few NPCs at the Vatican weirdly faced walls, while others' hair was patchy from a distance and rendered when I got closer. That said, during one cutscene, details on Indy's face would manifest, disappear, and repeat. After speaking to Antonio, who, with a name like that, is clearly tall, very tall, His dialogue continued even until I was outside the building. I could hear him murmuring, and the captions confirmed his loquaciousness. I didn't get the red squiggly, so apparently loquaciousness is an actual word. After turning the black dragon statue, the controller rumbled endlessly until I completed the puzzle. I don't like that Indy tosses his gun to interact with certain things or use his camera. Firearms are not necessarily scarce, but for the most part seem to be scant with the ammo. So imagine finding a machine gun with a decent bit of ammo, nice rate of fire, etc., attempting to ascend a ladder, but having no choice but to drop the gun in order to do so. Indy is worse at inventory management than the Dollar Tree. Speaking of climbing, the climb up the whip is a little slow. Characters in the distance may move at a lower frame rate. And on the topic of distance, it would have been nice if I could use the vehicles, especially in more open areas like Egypt. And if I chose to enter a battle situation guns blazing, I could mow down some Nazis to start. Speaking of crashing, the game crashed once, but fortunately cost me no progress because the game saves often enough. When going back to do unaddressed missions in previous locations, characters you've already met act like they forgot events that have happened since. Seemingly, the game expects you to have addressed these missions in chronological order. The player, magically, cannot open doors while in combat. Logically, this does not make sense and breaks immersion. Indy is Caucasian Jackie Chan, so resourceful, but in a battle royale, he can't turn a doorknob? In the final boss fight, I felt like hit detection was off. The boss would hit me, though seeming to not be near me or seeming to not always be facing me. I played Indiana Jones and the Great Circle via Game Pass PC, but this game is definitely worth the full purchase price. It's that good. The graphics are very realistic, but that means that when some visuals, animations, or concepts are subpar or impractical, they stand out more. What's also great, Circle, is the audio, score, script, which stay true to the tone of the films. The characters are fleshed out and more authentic than Cate Blanchett's Crystal Skull accent. The gameplay is satisfying, including upgrades, well-designed puzzles, meaningful side quests, etc. I put 24 hours in, and it was really just a matter of me getting organically lost in the breadth and intrigue of the game.